Scene 8, August 11th, 1596. Holy Trinity Churchyard, Stratford-upon-Avon. A procession. Enter Richard Byfield, holding a book, followed by Anne Hathaway, Mary Arden, John Shakespeare, and Will Shakespeare, who bear a small casket sufficient to hold an 11-year-old's corpse. Behind them walk Susanna and Judith. They open the trap door. Anne, Mary, John, and Will place the casket on the ground beside the trap. Byfield reads,
Forasmuch as it hath pleased Almighty God, of's mercy great, to take unto himself of our dear Hamnet straight the parted soul, we therefore hand his body to the ground.
What, his? Nay, thy! Sirrah, I know not his.
What hushed disquiet doth disturb the bringing home of bell and burial?
Without defence, and by your leave, good sir, my husband asked, but wherefore you did preach, we hand his soul and flesh to God and ground. For look you here, within this tiny box, our son's poor tiny son himself doth lie. He'll hear you talk, as if he were not here.
For so the age-old practice used to pledge, I do to God supreme commend thy soul.
These rites of lamentation be prescribed, and thy bespoke the faith of old too much, the creed of Rome, and not our virgin queens. Thy Hamnet's soul, escaping earthly reach, the parted one we hail direct no more, for superstitious speeches to a ghost do generate idolatry, and worse.
But, sir,
Be careful, father, slippery slope. 'Tis meet. 'Tis meet. Proceed you with your text. To earth the earth, to ashes ashes, dust to dust, in sure and certain faithful hope of resurrection to eternal life.
Exit Byfield.
what ceremony else?
I prithee, Anne, to take thyself and both our girls aside. Sweet Judith, Zuso, we shall talk anon, but first I would with just my parents speak.
Exeunt Anne, Susanna, and Judith.
Ay me, alack for woe, and well a day.
Dear Will, what nourishment doth London give? How starveling like thou look'st, how stock-fish thin!
As canker eateth bark doth sadness me. The funeral of our old Lord Chamberlain passed to-morrow morning at Westminster Abbey is. The Queen Elizabeth hath Lord Cobham picked as new Lord Chamberlain, did ye hear? Instead of George, the son of him who died. And now the Privy Council banned our London plays, wherefore we circulate the land. Our troop is new baptized Lord Hunsdon's men, and not Lord Chamberlain's men, as we were called before.
Some other funeral?
Didst Cobham say?
What though? My patron Earl Southampton hath a gift of gold bestowed on me, which I would lief expend on thee, my loving dad.
Enough! On what wouldst thou expend this gold?
2 decades since thou didst a coat of arms pursue, that thee from yeoman might promote, uplifting to a gentleman, by strength of worthy posts that thou in Stratford heldst, as justice, bailiff, alderman, mayor, more. By strength of 2,
I know my laurels lost.
thy laurels yet unscathed remain. Thy wife descended from a proper lordly root, the Ardens, Park Hall, Castle Bromwich, kin.
Mine application roundly spurned was.
Regretful circumstances dashed thy claim, alas, for reasons that we need not sketch. But wherefore I thine application would renew, for th' armature I now do know. So add to thine my stardom and a fee, and granted will the application be.
How pretty must the fee then be?
Fear not. Behold, a silver falcon, wings upraised, as shaking for a flight. The falcon's claw a golden spear doth tilt, the silvery tip a pen with which to write. The bird upon a wreath of gold and black doth perch. Beneath the wreath doth loom a helmet brave, which toppeth a golden shield traversed by ribbon black. And on that ribbon black we see again another golden ink-tipped shaking spear. The undercaption, "Not without a right," in ancient French for all with ears to hear.
The hero doth protest too much, methinks.
The Shakespeare family shield thus bought, we would in time with mother's Arden arms impale or quarter it, so authorizing thee pure silk to wear, a ceremonial sword to bear, and lo, thy sometime dreams and hopes to dare once more. This purchase I intend together with a grander Stratford home. Thy new place thus will rise, for all the burg to see, and stand a tiptoe when they near. And if to covet honour be a sin, let's be the most offending souls alive.
So my condition needeth gentling, eh?
I did not say.
Thou saidst more than too much. The application thou proposest would o'erstep the modesty of nature, for 'tis fake and overdone. A player art thou now, I know, who earneth bread through lies.
The truth doth nurse a player's every word.
Thou canst not now restore my lost repute, if that repute in faith I never had, or if I did it have, the town'th forgot. Whate'er in London will thy gold can buy, for me shall not, with horn and drum, convince them I am other than I seem.
Then I will still apply, but just for me.
Ah, foul thy sleight of hand doth out at last. Thou wouldst mine offices exploit to better thee, or, if not mine, thy mother's Arden past. Though grey our hairs and long thy manly limbs, thou wouldst we carry thee as if a babe. And Hamnet? Dost thou any cherish him? The laddie weepeth, new laid in his grave, and thou to-day dost prate of coats of arms?
I do not mind that thou above thy rank didst marry, or that mother's lands thou risked to gather loans, that on those loans thou didst default, as even Uncle Edmund thee did sue. That lenders did thy life demand, that thou to scape them stopped attending church, that aldermen did thee from their board expel. I do not mind the law did thee indict for usury, and for brogging, though I did not know a brogger traded lawless wool when I 13 was, as is Zuzu now, and heartless lads cried brogger to my face. I do not mind that thou didst me extract from grammar school, a place that I adored, so I could help thee run thy glovery, that this did me from tending Oxford keep, while other richer, duller friends did go, that soon there was no glovery to assist, that then I tutored Catholic Lancashire homes in secret, bringing coded letters place to place for money, frightened for my very life. I do not mind that for the borough thou didst taste the ale, and, merry-cheeked, did lose at times control, thy nose's broken veins, thy slurry speech, thy teeter-totter legs, that even now, to-day, as Hamnet cools, I smell the stinking sack upon thy breath. I do not mind this. It doth cause no shame.
Thy play about the tamed shrew, I hear, a prelude hath, in which a drunkard sly doth fail to pay his alehouse bill, and then deluded is to think himself a lord, and not a beggar. Oh, I thank thee for this winking mirthful honour, Will.
The tamed shrew had naught to do with thee.
A sherry sack doth cause a twofold good. It wetteth first thy brain to give thee wit, and second warmeth blood to give thee pluck. One needeth wit and pluck to face the grave. I therefore taught thee only sack to swill. Thin drink and water have o'ercooled thy blood since then, I fear. Can no man make thee laugh? Demure, too green sick, sober-blooded boy? And dost thou think, because thou dost abstain, there shall no more in faith be ale and cakes?
I write and act and mimic lives of lord, the idle gentles whom we long to be. I know their language, I it fluent speak. Thou hadst me study dancing, swording, lute, and now thou blamest me for idleness, when idleness for me thou sorely soughtst.
Recallest thou the Fields? The family lived in Stratford, Bridge Street, near our Henley house. The father was a tanner, yet his son,
I, Richard Field.
he went to school with thee, but later was apprenticed to a trade. A London printer, was it, where he worked? This Richard Field is wealthy now, I hear.
Thou'd rather Richard Field have as thy son, that some night-tripping fairy had exchanged in cradle-clothes thy children where they lay?
Oh, Will.
Dick Field this vantage had o'er me. Soon as he left, his father Henry died.
Oh, fie.
My Glovery died. 'Tis almost same.
Nay, John.
If only it had lived, and I
would have quit, for gloves did not me fit.
Upon it, Will, thy father dying is.
I care not whether.
Will, didst hear?
Nay, what? But verily?
Aye, verily, he's sick.
thy Hamnet perished in a state of grace. His seldom venal sins he did forsake, with goodly true anointment due to God. He houselled was, and shriven to a priest ordained by the holy Roman Church, and sheltered from the sheriff's prying eyes. Because the Lord forgiveth Hamnet's guilt, he shan't to hell's eternal blazon go.
Well, take his father's thanks, thy son's as well.
And yet, for those forgiven venal sins, the temporal penance still is due. His spirit for a certain term is doomed, for that he had not earthly time enough the acts of satisfaction here to do. He'll not to purgatory for e'er, thank God, but purgatory is temporary hell. The boy in sulphurous and tormenting flames will fast, until his crimes be burnt away. The lightest thought of this his prison house doth harrow up my soul, and freeze my blood. Mine eyes like stars do start from crystalline spheres, and every single hair doth stand on end like quills upon some ilk of spiny beast.
A porpentine.
John hands to Will a parchment.
No matter. Read for me.
Thy Catholic final testament and will? Oh, father, this thou shouldst at once destroy. It jeopardizeth all who near it stand.
Oh, mean'st thou in this world or the next? For not to have this then would vex me more.
Will reads the parchment aloud.
By this do I, John Shakespeare, truly pledge, that I was born to die, and not to know the hour, place, or manner. God could take me when I least did contemplate thereof, I, even when I plunged were within the carnal, dirty puddle of my sins. I therefore swear now that I Catholic am, and if the devil me should some time cause to do, to say, or think that I am not, or should I not receive the proper rites befitting Catholic souls afore the last, I wish those rites in spirit quick performed, and herebefore revoke my future sin. And I beseech my dearest friends and kin, because by reason of my sins I could a lengthy while in purgatory stay, that they will promise me to lend a hand with holy prayers and sacrifice of mass.
What sayest thou, my son, unto my suit?
If caught, thy dearest friends and kin would to a wooden cart be tied, and drawn by horse unto a field, where up in smoke they'd burn as heretics, or else be traitors called, and dangled from a rope till nearly dead, and disembowelled, and bethieved of head, and chopped into 4 murderous bleeding parts. The law doth let us pray for living folks, regardless foe or friend, but for thy dear departed self thou mustn't hereby ask. So take this back, and set it soon afire, and let it burn, instead of those thou lovest.
I showed thee this, not that thou wouldst for me hold mass when I am gone. 'Tis for thy son, my grandson, Hamnet, that I ask of thee, my son, his dad, the prosperous London Star, to ope thy purse and pay £1 or 2 for candles, masses, de profundis prayers, for alms to spread in memory of the lad, with hope that these small sacramental acts might ease his parlous trek through purgatory.
I do no more in purgatory believe.
To thee, O Will, from out the depths he crieth.
When Mary Stuart back unto this isle from France did come, her advent weakening Queen Elizabeth's hold and cheering Catholics on, thou didst, as Alderman, plunder any cross the Protestant aristocracy required.
But under cover did I hire with all the secret Catholic teachers at thy school. Thy mother and myself did not destroy, but squirreled away our rosary, crucifix, our chalice, saintly medals, banned books.
'Twas mother did these many things, not thou, for I did hear thee argue every night.
Oh, peace! Be friends, ye 2 Shakespearean fools. A thing for both your quarrelling. Protestant foes enough we have, for even thou, my boy, art Catholic, though thou strivest lapsed to seem.
Each Christian monarch over time, the Catholic and the Protestant alike, hath massacred, as if it were for love.
But look ye both, 'tis to our purpose not. For didst thou, John, not hear Will say, the Queen Lord Cobham hath as new Lord Chamberlain picked? We know this man, I will, we know him through. Thy Cobham lord, he sometime Catholic was. In 66, Sir William Cecil placed this Cobham under house arrest, because he then supported French and Spanish plots. Thereafter Cobham cut-throat turncoat turned, and which of 2 contending sides his coat turned gainst, no sightful Solomon could say. For Catholics on the Protestant court he spied, for Protestants snitched he on our Catholic plots. In 83, when he had Catholics told, he hailed Throckmorton's plot to kill the Queen. Lord Cobham let his brother, tucked in France, the Stuart co-conspirators expose. Dost thou forget Sir Edward Arden, him whose arms thou wouldst invoke that application to renew? Sir Edward second cousin was to me. Our grandsires did the selfsame father have. His father's father elder brother was unto my father's father. Dost recall? Sir Edward Arden sheltered at Park Hall a Catholic priest, disguised as nurseryman. This priest persuaded Edward's son-in-law, a Warwickshire youth, John Somerville by name, to shout that lovely Mary Stuart sore abused was, and hid with pistol shoot the wicked bastard excommunicate queen. For this he in the Tower was promptly thrown, with sister, uncle, mother, father, wife, then quick condemned to die for traitorous deeds. Our Somerville, they say, himself did hang inside his cell before the sentence fell. But still they chopped his head off as a prize. On Edward's head they also severed clean, impaled it on a pike for London Bridge. This Cobham countless Catholics hath destroyed. Brave Henry Percy, 8th Northumberland Earl, thy patron's dad, 2nd Southampton Earl, and blessed martyr Edward Arden, saint, their only crimes, their secret Catholic souls. So cursed be this bloody bawdy Cobham, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindless Cobham. If ever, Will, thou held me in thine heart, if thou the horse of Arden dost esteem, if thou hast nature in thee, bear them not. Avenge these foul and most unnatural wrongs.
Enter Anne, Susanna, Judith, and Byfield. The children wondered wherefore grandam's cries. Mary says to Will.
Now swear.
Will says to his daughters and Byfield.
'Twas nothing.
Swear.
Will says to his daughters.
We're gloomy.
Swear.
Dear mother, I do swear I'll something do, near appertaining to the deed thou soughtst. And father, for these services thou soughtst, for Hamnet's memory, I mean, I'll range the money due in all respects.
On every chest doth weigh the glacial, cold, and earthy hand of death. We dust and food for maggots are, and time must have a stop.
And much the same as I'll for Hamnet do, I'll do withal for thee, when cometh time. 'Tis theatre, verily, my vocation, Dad. I fare thee well. I must to London, soon as Anne and I discharge our bounden tasks.
I prithee, eat.
Adieu. Remember me.
Exeunt only Mary, John, and Byfield. Will unsuccessfully tries to move the casket to the trap door. What play art thou now writing? Is it good? How fared the show in Kent? Did all it like? I agonizing feared that even this poor melancholic bait would not thee reel into our floundering boat. In faith, I thank thee for thy kindness here in coming, for thy time is dearer more, I know, than that of lesser gods. Thou turn'st away. Alack! What cheer? How dost thou then, my heart? Ah, pooh! My tender Will, look cross and pout. Some other lover hath thy fonder looks. How fareth he, thy youthful patron Earl? Doth still he shame thee for thy Thespian work? Doth still he from his lord's seat daily watch thy plays, sniff pomanders, inhale his pipe, and gaze at whores and dodgers in the pit? Hath thy Southampton yet turned 23? The day was once when thou uncraved wouldst pledge that nary notes were dulcet to thine ear, and nary vapours fragrant to thy nose, and nary colours blissful to thy sight, and nary nudges thrilling to thy skin, and nary banquets toothsome to thy tongue, if I'd not sung, sighed, glanced, caressed, or kissed thy wanton, older, female, feline friend, whom thine angelic fear did much amuse. Thy winsome wit did win me over, though 'twas more than wit begat our Suzu then. Your plays on Henry VI, I'm told, do scorn 'gainst wedlock foresaid, and do reprimand that hasty marriage seldom proveth well. These surely do not thee and me purport, for if they did, 'twould be severe, unkind. How haps it now, my bridegroom? Fie, how now, that so dismembered from thyself thou art? If I toward thee as wintry visage turned, as thou dost now unkind toward me, wouldst thou not cry me Jezebel, and hiss at me, and shake thy fist, and pluck this sacred band from my small hand, and melt it with a not untying oath? Thy visage crieth out of me, I hate. I prithee, from I hate, throw hate away, and add not thee to it, for hath away. Remember, one at least was writ for me. God save thee, sweet. Art thou at least all right? I know the elephant that's wrong. For that at least, I prithee, credit me. My womb did bear the boy, and Judith both. Away, yet still thou turn'st.
good now, wilt not speak? How fareth gentle Will? And wouldst thou chess with Zuzu play? Or Judith, wouldst thou teach iambic verse to pen? For she hath read with anxious eyes thine every published word. Perchance the family on some spree should go? Wouldst thou an Avon picnic sad enjoy? Or on a lark? Wilt give up writing plays, and journey hereward home to us for good?
'Tis droll.
How now?
Will slaps Anne.
How couldst thou let him die?
I cry thee mercy. Tush, thou blamest me?
If so, 'tis 'cause he passed within thy care.
Anne slaps Will. They fight unarmed, Anne dominating. Will eventually gives up.
Perchance thou hast mistook the pregnant crux. Thou flarest up, who never had a son, or daughters, mother, father, sister, wife, who, leaving here and all this town contained, himself hath died, no less than Hamnet hath, bereaving us, thy former unscathed kin, who widowed me, who orphaned my 3 bairns, and who, to's parents, did so black a thing, no word can name it, no, it hath no word, a thing that now I, too, alone have borne. Think not that thou hast such a loss as I, who never let his widow to him come in cheery London, lest she him distract, of whose far-flung success all wondered why this woman that he'd wed did never boast, who e'er forgot that Hamlet's birthday was his sister Judith's self-same birthday too, whose lavish words into his plays he splashed, instead of into children's waiting ears, who, even when the plague did London hit, lacked courtesy enough to write, I live, the greatest storyteller of the age, who still did make this woman spare his wit the trouble of inventing merry fibs to hide the hopeless monsters of despair, when hell on earth to lowly Stratford came, and Susan, Judith, Hamnet asked of me, to where be gentles dashing with their goods? What be those shiny sores on people's skin, that peculiar smell of rot? When will it end? Wherefore be people lying on those carts? Say, who did paint that X upon our door? Is Hamnet like to die today? Am I? Nay, leave those woes alone that I alone was bound to bear, and now am cursed to know.
Thou speakest madness.
No, I mad am not. Young Hamnet was my son, he now is lost. This hair I tear is mine, my name is Anne, and I of old was wife of one named Will. I mad am not, I would to God I were, for then 'tis like I should forget my son, or madly think a babe of clouts were he. I mad am not. Too well I feel. I prithee, sir, find words to make me mad, for reason maketh me sensible of grief, and teacheth me to hang myself.
But Anne,
I now defy all counsel, all redress, but that which endth all counsel, true redress, as death, dear death, benevolent, lovely, pure, thou fragrant stench of blushing rottenness, arise thee from the couch of lasting night, and I will kiss thy pestilential bones, and put my eyeballs in thy vaulty brows, and ring these fingers with thy household worms, and stop the gap of breath with fulsome dust, and be a Charon monster like thyself. Come, grin on me, and I shall pat thy cheek, and buss thee as thy wife, since Will no more my husband is. Oh, misery's love, do come.
Thou art as fond of grief as of a child.
Thou hast no child. Didst thou this pinprick miss? But I have reason to be fond of grief, for grief fills up my absent Hamlet's room, lies in his bed, walks up and down with me, puts on his pretty looks, repeats his words, remembers me of all his gracious parts, stuffs out the vacant clothes with Hamlet's form.
Our Hamlet would beseech thee be content.
Anne addresses the grave and casket.
But thou wert sweet, and at thy birth, dear boy, did nature bless thee as the half-blown rose.
In heaven shalt thou see the lad again.
No, never, 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 never more. For now will canker sorrow eat my bud, and chase the native beauty from his cheek, and so he'll rust, and rising so again. When he shall meet me in the cosmic court, I shall not know my pretty Hamlet more.
Anne seats herself on the ground.
Wherefore?
My grief, my darling grief's so great that no supporter but the huge firm earth can hold it up. Here I and sorrows sit. Behold my throne. Bid kings come bow to it.
Be calm.
Enter Mary and John, alarmed by Anne's cries.
I'll not, if I have breath to cry. Oh, that my tongue were in the thunder's mouth! Then with a passion would I shake the world, and rouse from sleep that fell anatomy which cannot hear a woman's feeble voice.
Dear mother, I beseech thee to forgive, for I and Zuzu can, when we do wed, our faulty gender overcome, and make for thee and father yet another boy.
Perchance the children ought to come with us. Nay, Judith, Zuzu, nay, forgive ye us. Thy gender is not faulty, no, no fault.
When I a boy of 15 was, my sis, who 7 was, did die, and I was sad. I know not, lambkins, why I tell you this.
Anne stands.
Go, write thy plays. Do not come back to us. Do not say this will be thy one last work. Do not pretend of us thy next will speak. If thou must now affect thou lovest us, then feign that lie by letting us lie still, and ne'er again do squeal sweet Hamlet's name.
Oh, Anne, my wife.
Too late. I hate. I hate.
Exit Will.
I look for words that hopeless am I so.
Weep not.
I ever see him. Lack I too.
See whom? Our Will?
Nay, Hamnet. Hamnet, he.
Anne starts to lift the casket. Susanna, Judith, Mary, and John assist her in lowering it. They close the trapdoor. Exunt omnes.